Some residents of the Federal Capital Territory today looted the warehouse of the Agricultural and Rural Development Secretariat of the Federal Capital Territory Administration located in Dei amid economic hardship. A spokesperson for the ARD Secretariat, Zakaria Liu, says the secretary had earlier visited the warehouse where the residents had looted everything in the store and vandalized the place, removing the roofs and windows. He adds that the FCTA Minister of State, Dr. Maria Mahmood, and the FCT Mandate Secretary, Agricultural Secretariat, Lawan Gaidam, will again visit the facility on Monday where more detailed information will be given regarding the incident. Meanwhile, fearing that its warehouses may be the next target for looters, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says security is being beefed up across its facilities in the country. Reports say Director General Mustafa Habib Ahmed has directed zonal directors and heads of operations to strengthen security in and around the agency's offices and warehouses nationwide. Okay, joining us to look at these issues that are developing is the former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, NOA, Idi Farouk. Malam Idi Farouk, very warm welcome to Newsnight.
Thank you very much, Christian.
Well, let's not start from the disturbing story of hunger in the land, but the foray that Mr. President is doing in attracting investors, you know, to the Nigerian economy. He's in Qatar, and it's like some good news coming out from there. The Qatari investors are willing to come here post-Ramadan. That's what the Emir of Qatar has said. How do you see this new drive by the president?
I think what Mr. President is doing is extremely very commendable, and I think it's the right step in the right direction. When he talked about report any official of government that wants to collect bribe or what have you, I think he's speaking from the Nigerian experience. I was in Cairo recently where I went for my medicals, and there was this story, so to speak, that this one hospital, huge hospital, wanted to bring the investment to Nigeria, bring in their hospital to Nigeria. And the officials of government, I won't mention the government anyway, were requesting for a percentage in the business. And they moved. I hear they are now maybe in Ghana or somewhere. But one of the things that the president must also do is to look at our justice system. About 25 years ago, a friend of mine, good lawyer, big lawyer, told me that for investments to come and thrive in Nigeria, our judicial system must be upright. And it seems to me that what is happening in the judicial system now can hamper the progress that Mr. President is doing. So when he comes back...
But wouldn't that be a wholesale condemnation of the judiciary system?
It is not
so untoward about the judiciary that Nigerians don't seem to have good words for them.
Yeah, we don't seem to have goodwill because they have brought it upon themselves, so to speak. If you look at the kind of judgments being given, an investor comes in from wherever, he brings in his investment, and Idi Farouk sits down here and defrauds him. He has nowhere to go and get justice. He takes the case to our courts, and the courts begin to adjourn until the man or whoever or woman gets frustrated. So when Mr. President comes back, in spite of all the assurances given to the Qataris, which I just didn't like the use of the word bribe, but in spite of all those assurances, he needs to come, and our judiciary must join in this drive to make Nigeria
Well, the
great.
president, while in Qatar, said that one bad egg, you know, shouldn't really spoil the whole bunch and the rest. Nigerian youths are reliable partners for development.
But the saying is not one bad egg, it's one bad apple.
Yeah, one bad apple, one bad egg.
One bad apple can spoil the whole bunch.
Yeah.
So we have to look at that apple, take it out, so that it doesn't spoil the whole bunch. We need a strong judicial approach to be able to drive this investment. I am happy for Mr. President. I believe that he's doing well in that direction, but he needs the support of everybody, all the arms of, all the tiers of government.
Would you say it is too early yet in the day, 9 months into his administration, going to 10 months now, and all the foreign investment drives and the rest, you know?
It doesn't seem to be coming in, so to speak.
Yes, if not, why the hunger in the land? Why the torpedo of the nation's economy?
No, but that, if like you also observed, correctly so too, you said in 9 months it might be, when investors come, they also have their own approaches to how they move in. So maybe they are now in the process of trying
the formative process?
Exactly. So.
All right. Quite a number of issues were raised there, but let's come back home immediately. And it's like a repeat of what happened during the COVID era when Nigerians who stayed at home couldn't bear the pangs of hunger and turned to the warehouses, where, to the surprise of Nigerians, the warehouses were loaded with commodities that were not being distributed.
Yeah,
we just saw that in Abuja now, the Federal Capital Territory.
Seems we don't learn our lessons. What are these commodities still doing is more like hoarding, so to speak, because that's not the reserves we talk about. So you want to ask, who are they saving that for? And the people who load it know where it is. And like you said, Chris, there is real hunger in the land, proper hunger. And there are people who don't even eat any meal, talk less of saying 3 square meals or 2 square meals, as the case may be. So we have to learn our lessons. We need to know what are they reserving those, what are the grains and what have you doing in those warehouses. Is it a part of the national grains reserve? If not, we need answers to this kind of question.
Yes, and maybe to underscore the situation again, I mean, the Humanitarian Affairs Poverty Alleviation Ministries come under searchlights, particularly with its suspended minister in the early days of the malfeasance that was observed there. But would you suggest, or wouldn't you be saying that the humanitarian ministry would help a lot in, you know, redressing the issue of poverty if it has a national coordinator and a board, you know, that is being suggested by the Wale Edun initial report? But
also part of that suggestion is that what's it called, should be taken to the Ministry of Finance. It's not about where
it is domiciled.
No, it's not about where it is domiciled. It is about how the people in charge are not as greedy. You know what I mean? It's the greed of man that is spoiled the entire thing. But otherwise, it's a well thought out what's it called, to take care. It should still remain in the humanitarian, but like you also now observed, there has to be proper
coordination.
A
national coordinator should be appointed.
Yes.
And a board put in place. Well, but don't forget that the agreement, you know, the mandate agreement Nigeria signed with the World Bank for the $3 billion loan to be disbursed to the poor. The Ministry of Finance was neck deep in it in signing that agreement. And in fact, it has the mandate to distribute the fund. So that stands it in a good stead, you would say, to manage the fund?
To distribute, to manage, like I say, it is not where it is domiciled. It is in the greed of man that we run into all such problems. Does it matter? I mean, the head of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs is a minister, cabinet minister, very top-ranking official of government. So we should expect that due process is followed. It is very absurd that at one point in time, government officials, and very top-ranking ones at that, will take money to the market and begin to distribute that money in the market.
You're talking of during the Buhari administration with the vice president, the then vice president.
Okay, you say okay, that's okay. I agree with you.
Trade that money now. I mean, that was in the public milieu. So
how can you distribute government money in the market? Why don't can't we be more scientific?
Malam Farouk, look,
yes, please.
There is telling hunger in the lands now. Yes. And I'm sure this is one critical period that Nigerians, the poor, really need the services of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry.
Exactly.
So how the money is distributed is a matter of transparency. Have they gotten all the data right?
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs now is over about 4 or 5 years old. Is it not right for it to have all the data that it requires? Who did they pay the money to? Apparently, I thought that there's another payment of 400 and something million naira, I understand, to one company for data. And I understand that, I'm made to believe that the company has also performed. But looks like the performance is in quote. Basically, government money has a procedure. No matter how urgent it is, you can follow that procedure urgently, but follow the procedure. It's not about taking it to the office of the Minister of, he has so many other things, the Minister of Finance. They have so many other finances to look at, not only the humanitarian one. So I think it should remain where it is, but put the correct and right persons in place.
All right, that's good. Very quickly now, the role of the National Orientation Agency, in dousing this tension, in propagating government goals, to stave off the issue of hunger, reassuring the people saying concrete results.
Mr. Chris Ogodo, there is no reassurance you give a hungry man when the hungry man is hungry. What the hungry man needs, the assurance he requires, is food. And that's why they are breaking all the warehouses where food is placed. If you can get them direct to them as is required by law, if it's cash, you send it direct to the poor man. We say the poorest of the poor. I wonder where we got that from. The poorest. Everybody now is nearly the poorest of the poor in Nigeria.
Including you?
I said nearly everybody.
Malamidi Farouk, thank you so very much for coming on Newsnight. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.